Hello students, today in a paper Organization Behavior with paper code BBAP 3305 we are going to cover the topic of third unit, that is concept of team versus group, types of teams, building and managing effective teams, motivating team members. I am Ragini Dixit, working as Assistant Professor, School of Management, BBD University. Now, coming to the contents of this presentation, we have introduction, group, meaning and characteristics, team, its meaning and characteristics, difference between group and team, then various types of team we will discuss in detail, then principles of developing a group as a team, how a group can be developed into a team, then how we are going to build and manage effective team, and motivating team members, how team members can be motivated. Now coming to the first slide, introduction. When we use the terminologies group and team, we mostly take these as synonyms of each other, means group and teams are generally used interchangeably. Though both refers to the assemblage of two or more individuals, both group and team refers to assembly of two or more individuals. A team is a particular type of group only, which is more focused towards the mutual goal, with every member contributing in the best possible manner. So you can say that team is drawn from the group only, but it has mutual goal and its members are more focused. Then coming to the meaning of group, a group is the accumulation of three or more people who share a common purpose, interest, traits, characteristics or situations. The individuals in this association or accumulation of three or more people, and they have what in common? They can have common purpose, they can have interest, same traits or characteristics or situation. They are in the same situation. The individuals in a group may or may not have interpersonal interactions. They may not have interpersonal interactions. They belong to a group and they may have interpersonal interaction, or they may not have interpersonal interactions. Now, coming to the characteristics of group, a group possesses certain features which differentiate it from a team. Some features are there which is going to differentiate group from team, and these features are: a group has individual goals. Each of the member of a group is there to fulfill their objective. Each member has its individual goal. Then size and composition. The size of a group can be small or large. However, it comprises of people having something in common. Your group can be small and your group can be large also. Group can be of 3 to 10 people, and when it is more than of 10 people, it is said to be a large group. Then independent individuals. The members of a group are not reliant on one another for their action. They are independent. Then individual accountability. Everyone in a group is personally responsible for his or her action. That status, the level to which the group is valued in the outer world defines its status. How much that group is valued in the outer environment, or you can say outer world. Then coming to the collective identity, the individuals are together known to be a part of particular group, that they belong to a particular group. That is, they have collective identity. They belong to the same group. Now, types of group, as we have discussed these types of group in our previous presentations, so we are not going to discuss them in detail right now. We are going to give just a gist of that. That is, groups can be deliberately made or unknowingly formed, and when people happen to be in the same circumstances or situations, they are considered to be a part of one group. Also, a group is essentially created to proceed with a given task and its timely execution. People collaborate to form various kinds of group as mentioned below. These groups can be your formal groups, informal groups, permanent or temporary groups, primary groups, secondary groups. So these groups are formed, and we have discussed, we are going to discuss, or we have discussed these different types of groups in detail in our previous presentation. Then coming to the team. A team is an organized and systematic group comprising of individuals with competent skills and expertise. They have competent skills and expertise. The individuals who belong to a particular team, they have competent skills and expertise, and it is organized and systematic group who gather for the attainment of a common objective collaboratively. The team members work as a single unit and take up the responsibility of task completion mutually. That is, all the team members work in a unified way, that is as a single unit. And what they do, they take up the responsibility of task completion mutually. That each and every one is responsible for the completion of tasks, each and every member of the team. Now, coming to the team. Common goal, it has a common goal. The members work to achieve a particular team objective. Team spirit, the enthusiasm of the members to reach out the team goal is always high. Trust, in a team individuals believe and rely on each other's capabilities and skills. Then leadership is there is a clear leadership within a team, and the selected team leader heads the activities. Then there is a mutual accountability. Each and every individual is equally responsible for the underperformance and failure of the team. Then interdependency. The actions of the members within a team are jointly dependent on that of other members. So the members are interdependent on each other. Then defined roles. Every individual in the team has been allocated specific roles or responsibilities. Then streamlined direction. The team leader is the one who shows the way to the members and monitors their operations. Then collaboration. There is a high degree of synergy or coordination among the team members. They work in a unified way, and there is a lot of coordination among the team members. So these are the characteristics of a particular team. Now, these you can see in this diagram, these characteristics are given. They have a common goal, there is a team spirit, there is a trust, leadership, mutual accountability, interdependency, they have defined role, they have a streamlined direction and collaboration. Now, difference between group and team. A group is an assemblage of individuals with common traits or situation or interest or purpose, whereas a team is a structured and organized arrangement of a defined number of individuals. Team members are selected by their skills or expertise to aim at the desired team goal collectively. Now, we can see in this chart the difference between group and team. These are the bases, and this is a group and there is a team. Meaning, according to meaning, on the basis of meaning, group is a made when independent individuals having something in common come together, whereas a team is that group of interdependent. In group the members are independent, but in a team the group members are interdependent individuals who join hands for the realization of a specific goal. Then on the basis of accountability, in a group an individual is accountable, while in a team individual and as well as all members are mutually accountable. Then decision making authority. In group members are responsible. In team leaders are responsible. Individual growth, proper training but limited application. That is in group individual growth is limited and is with the proper training. And in team members, individual growth results in skill development and application. In group, focus is on individual goals, while in team, focus is on team goals. Then dependency. In group, members are independent, while in team, the members are interdependent. Then specific roles assigned to individuals. In group there are no specific roles assigned to individuals, whereas in team there are specific roles which are assigned to individuals. Then interpersonal understanding. In group it is not necessary, but if they are working as a team, it is compulsory to understand each other. That is, interpersonal understanding is there. Now in group leadership is unstructured, while in team leadership is structured. They know who is their leader and whom instructions team members have to follow. Then level of trust in group is low as compared to team. The level of trust is high in teams. Then level of commitment is low in groups and level of commitment is high in team. Conflict management techniques which are applied in group are weak, while conflict management in team is high. Now we can conclude from this diagram the difference between group and team. For example, a group of candidates comes for an interview. Out of this, a group of candidates, okay, group of candidates came for an interview. Out of these, 2 candidates were selected and were placed in the research team. So group was there. Now this group is confined to team. 2 of them are selected and they are placed in research team. In the above illustration, the candidates who came for an interview neither knew each other nor have a common goal. Instead, they had similar but individual objectives. They came there to qualify the interview with the objective of qualifying the interview. Also, when the 2 selected candidates were placed in the research team, they were introduced to the other members of the team. They even came to know about everyone's skills and strength. Everyone in the team has a single goal, that is to do research. Everyone in the team has a single goal or objective to accomplish. Now, when does a group becomes a team? We cannot just simply declare a group to be a capable team until it successfully follows the 7 principles of team building out of a group as given here. When a group can be developed into team, there are several principles. There are 7 principles on the basis of which a group can be developed into a successful team. The team members should feel free to express their perception and views along with valuing the inputs provided by other members. That is, they are free to express themselves. Then second, the decision made should be a result of collective participation and contribution of all the team members. There is collective participation of all the members. Then in a team, conflicts are usually treated as a source of information and generation of new ideas. So conflict should be treated as source of information. Then team members believe that they are together responsible for the execution of work or goal achievement. That is, they are mutually responsible along with the adherence to the established rules. Then there should be a higher degree of understanding among the team members. In the team, the members have faith in the skills and competencies of one another. Then the members efficiently apply their personal and professional skills to work towards the attainment of the team's goal. Making the team out of a group requires effective leadership also, great enthusiasm and a high level of synergy. Also, if the group dynamics are designed expertly, such a group transforms into a strong team. That is what are the rules, what are the norms, then what is the status, how that group is going to interact with another, group members are going to interact with another. This all will help in transforming a group into a strong team. Now, these are the 7 principles. That is, there should be exchange of ideas and opinions. There should be participative decision making. Then conflict should be treated as source of information. That is, if they should be treated as normal. Then there should be shared ownership of responsibilities, mutual understanding, trust, support and encouragement, plus 100% contribution from all these team members. Now, coming to types of teams, there can be various types of teams. These are your management team, operational team, self-directed team, troubleshooting team, virtual team, self-purpose team. Then comes your project team. Project team can be further divided into functional team, multifunctional team, contract team and matrix team. Now coming to management team. The team which comprises of the department heads who are responsible for managing the whole business operation is called a management team. That is, it comprises of department heads. Operational team takes care of the overall functioning, that is responsible for the operation or functioning of an organization, and the team members fix the issues that hinder the company's smooth operation. Self-directed team, the team which not led by any leader or manager. Instead, each member controls and directs their own direction. That is self-directed. They are directed by their own actions. Troubleshooting team. This team comprises of people with analytical thinking and problem solving who come together for streamlining the process is a troubleshooting team. Then virtual teams. Such teams are ubiquitous in the organization which have a global presence. Means this type of team can be seen in the organizations which have a global presence. Since the team members are located in different countries with different time zones, they cannot directly interact with each other. Thus, such people stay connected through technology in spite of varying language and cultures. This is virtual team. That is, they are connected through electronic media. That is virtual team. Then special purpose team, you can say special task force. That is, it is formed to fulfill a specific project or purpose, and generally after completion of that task, such a team is disintegrated or adjourned. Then project team, similar to the special purpose team, a project team is the one which is built to efficiently execute a given project on time by following a common strategy. It can be further subdivided into the following four categories, that is functional team, multifunctional team, contract team and matrix team. Functional team. Such a team is formed within a department and is usually permanent, and it is regulated by a manager and works on a regular project, ensuring that their part of the task is appropriately accomplished. Multifunctional, it consists of team members who hold expertise in their fields. Such a team can be set temporarily or permanently depending on the project and organizations. That is, team members come from different functional departments. Then contract team, the team which is formed by hiring the members from an external source, is called a contract team. Then a matrix team. In this two-boss system or matrix organizational structure, the top level manager exercise superior power or control, whereas the middle level manager take care of the functioning and decision making system. Now coming to our next topic, that is building and managing effective team. How we are going to build and manage effective team. Without team building skills, a manager risks limiting the productivity of their employees to what each member can do on their own, whereas if we foster team building, we can unite our team around a common goal, which will raise productivity as a result. That is, we have to foster team building in each member of the team to raise their productivity. Now, so there are various steps to build a productive and effective team. First step can be your establish leadership. That is, if our employees trust our judgment, they will work efficiently or effectively even when we are not around. That is, we have to establish leadership. They should have trust on their leaders. That is, before we can start our team building, we need to develop the right kind of leadership skill. This doesn't mean that asserting authority. It means we try to foster trust through honesty and transparency. That is, especially in larger organizations, managers can't be everywhere at once. But if our employees trust our judgment, they will work effectively even when we are not around. Then coming to second factor, that is establish relationship with each of employees. That is, try to learn more about each member of our team, their skill sets, how they are motivated and their likes and dislikes. This knowledge is invaluable to leaders and it allows them to match each employee's expertise and competencies to specific problems, and this will increase their productivity and job satisfaction. Now, third point, that is build relationship between our employees. That is, as our team starts to cooperate more, examine the way they work together and take steps to improve communication, cooperation and trust among the team. If there are any conflicts, try to resolve them amicably, listen to both sides of the argument and act as a mediator. One way to do this is to brainstorm solutions which help to empower our employees and may lead to new solutions to the problem. That is building relationship between our employees. Now, foster teamwork. Once we have established relations with and between our employees, it's time to help them work together effectively. Encourage our team to share information both amongst themselves and within the wider organizations. Also, try to communicate more with our team. This goes beyond simply holding meetings, including things like being open to suggestion and concern, asking about each team member's work and offering assistance where necessary, and doing everything we can do to communicate clearly and honestly with our team. Then set ground rules for the team. We can begin officially establishing our team through creating team values and goals, as well as evaluating team performance alongside individual performance. Be sure to include our team in this process so they know what's required and agree with it. That is, team member must know what they are required to do and they should agree with it. Then, how we are going to motivate our team. On what factors we can motivate our teams, what we can do to motivate our teams. As a leader or manager, motivating our team is likely to be high on our agenda. Team members' motivation level can have an impact on their productivity, the quality of their work, their engagement, morale, and their relationship with others. It is vital, therefore, to create the condition for motivation to thrive within our team. In this, we can do communicate openly and honestly. We should communicate with our team members openly and honestly. Communicating regularly, openly and honestly with our team members can help make them feel valued, involved and more secure. When it comes to communicating with our team, be sure to be open and approachable. Let team members know that we want to communicate with them and that we value their input. Be as honest as possible. If we are delivering important news, be realistic in terms of how it might affect the team. So while delivering any sort of news, be honest. And be honest about what they should expect to happen both in the immediate and long term. Then keep team members up to date. If something in the organization changes that affects the team, let everyone know as soon as we can. Be as clear as we can about the reasons behind the change and let the team know when a further update will be available. Create opportunities for our team to communicate with us. In our regular team meetings, give team members the chance to raise any issues or questions they might have. Be an inspiration from the way we respond to problems or changes to how we manage our workload and conduct our relationship. Our approach to work can have a big influence on our team. So we have to work as a leader, we have to work as an inspirational leader, and our team members will we can ask our team members to work like us. A positive upbeat approach can help to energize our team and encourage them to adopt a similar mindset. Then, as a leader or manager, motivating our team is likely to be high on our agenda. Team members' motivation levels can have an impact on their productivity also, the quality of their work, their engagement, morale and their relationship with each other. We can communicate openly and honestly we should communicate openly and honestly with our team members. Then, help team members to grow and develop. Providing team members with opportunities to grow, develop and use their skills in new ways will help to ensure that motivation levels remain high. It is important, however, to offer individual employees challenges and opportunities that are appropriate to them. To support these objectives, there are a number of actions we might be able to take, and this could include setting challenging but achievable targets for team members who want to develop in a specific, or giving a team members extra responsibilities by delegating some of our own tasks, inviting a team member to shadow we or someone else in the organization, such as another leader or manager, or offering coaching, mentoring or training where appropriate. Offer praise and celebrate success. Recognizing and celebrating success in our team is one of the most effective ways of inspiring everyone to keep up the good work. Saying a simple thank or well done to team members can help to boost motivation on a day-to-day basis and will reassure them to their efforts have not gone unnoticed. Then seek involvement and gain buy-in. Involving team members in planning and decision making process will help to ensure that they are motivated to follow through on the outcomes that they have helped to shape. This need not necessarily mean involving the team in lots of dedicated meetings or discussion. Although we may wish to do this depending on the situation, in some cases simply asking team members to email their thoughts and ideas or to share them as a part of regular team or one-to-one meeting can help to make people feel involved. Then boost team morale. Team morale and employee motivation share a close relationship. Employees in enthusiastic, committed teams with good working relationships are far more likely to be motivated than those in groups that are deflated or disconnected. So we have to increase their morale of the team members. There are a number of ways. First is encouraging team members to collaborate and work on tasks and projects together, holding team building exercises, organizing an occasional team lunch or night out. Then identify individual drivers for motivation. When it comes to motivating our team, it is important to remember that different people have different drivers for motivation. Although many employees are undoubtedly motivated by the prospect of reward, this is not necessarily the case for everyone. So we have to identify individual driver for a particular individual. That is, some of our team members might value praise above anything else, while others may be driven by the prospect of growth and development. And if this is the case, it is important to speak to these individuals on a one-to-one basis to try to get to the bottom of the problem and identify and agree on an appropriate way forward together. Now, coming to the conclusion, motivating our team is an important aspect of our role and one that requires continuous attention. But it is not about making elaborate gestures or offering costly incentives. It's about taking simple steps to create the right conditions for motivation to thrive and tapping into our team members' individual drivers for motivation. And by doing this, we will help make our team an inherently motivating place to work. So, thank you, class.